What's up, everyone? Peace to everyone right now that's currently mourning, grieving the loss of Assane. For a lot of us, if not all of us, have been affected by this in some capacity. I won't even say that I have doubts. I'm almost 100% certain that every single person that has known Assane in some way has seen and experienced the kindness that he has. Every single person. Assane was kind 100%. All the time. That's all that I know him as. Those are the memories that I have with him. Down to his speaking, down to his humor, down to everything about him. There was something so pure and gentle about him. I met him he was 17, if I'm not mistaken. So this was about 9 years ago. I was presented an opportunity with a friend / colleague that would offer me, he and I would mentor 2 seniors in high school, at Lindenwold High School. He had one and I had Assane. That's how I met him. And he was working on a senior project. And that's how I initially met him. And from that point, we began to build a relationship. I saw him at his play. I think it was called Once on This Island or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And then from there, he graduated, and then we maintained our connection. He mentioned he was going to Rowan, and he was going to get a degree and all that stuff. And he already had his goals and his dreams. He was pretty set. He would stop by my house randomly. There was a point where he would show up without even calling. He would just pop up. He was, and normally like that would bother me, but with him it never bothered me. Never did. He would randomly ask to come over. He would stop by. We would watch the VMAs or the BET Awards, and we would have conversations about just regular topics. Just usually there were social topics or something silly. You know, when the memes became a thing, that was a thing. But he was working at Foot Locker for a little bit. He was just ready to get into a career path that he wanted to do. And that was his focus. He was extremely focused. So I taught him how to drive. Like, we had driving lessons at my house. I had a Chrysler Cirrus, and I was giving him driving lessons. And he was like, I don't know if I'll be able to use my parents' car to take the test. He's like, so if I could use yours, it'd be nice. And he ended up being able to use his parents' car, and he passed the test. And he got his license. And then time went on, and then I remember just roughly 2 years ago, he messaged me about an opportunity to go to California to work with the Clippers. And I'm sure I was the only one he sought for counsel on it. But he was torn between either staying in Jersey and potentially waiting for an opportunity to open at Rowan, or working around here, or maybe in PA or something along those lines, or New York even, or take an opportunity for the Clippers. And it was in the cards for him to go to California. And I said, yo, follow your heart. That was the main thing I kept saying to him. I was like, follow your heart. You have options. You can follow your heart. You have support. Follow your heart. And lo and behold, he went. A couple of days upon him touching down, he FaceTimed me out of the blue. I answered, we spoke, and he said he was, it's pretty good. He didn't like the fact that, some things he didn't like about, just a couple things he didn't like, but he was happy that he made that decision. And he said, thank you for like listening, and thank you for helping me figure it out, and all that good stuff. So then he came back one point last year, and then he came back again this year, just about 3 weeks ago, he was around and he was making his rounds, and he stopped by my house September 2nd around 8 o'clock, and we spoke about life again. And he was there for about 5-6 hours, and we just talked. And he was talking about his future. We talked about his future. We talked about COVID. We talked about vaccines. We talked about all that stuff. We talked about all the conspiracy theories. We talked about more memes. Had a great time, as always. And then he left. So, he eventually left to go back to California. But he told me about his plans and what he desired to do from the Clippers. It never makes sense when the purest hearted people leave early. It never makes sense. We try to wrap our minds around some of the kindest people just departing, sometimes so suddenly, unexpected, just no, and it will never make sense. To me, it will never make sense. Like, there are some terrible people just walking, living, breathing fine. And then you have someone with the brightest, the purest heart, the kindest. My cat loved him. Oh my God. Oh man, he had a certain laugh. His laugh sounded like no one else's laugh. All of my music, damn near all of my music in my library was curated by him. He would always post music in his stories, and I would listen to the music and we would talk about it. And I trusted him to just share music with me because we had a certain similar sound. He was able to pick certain sounds that I liked. And when I tell you there's a lot of him kind of inside of the experience I've shared with him, it's here. Music that I play is just him. And that's never going to change. That time that I spent with him, the amount of that he confided in me with, like, I did not realize how important that was over the course of years, And it wasn't until, when I saw the notice about him missing, I was just like, okay. It was like, things happen. He's a Cancer. Sometimes Cancer, they tend to do that thing where they close up and they just cut off from everyone. But I didn't know to the degree because, again, I don't live with him. He has a roommate, and you don't know. And then I saw that, and I'm just like, I still to this moment, it just does not make sense. But when I tell you, to the family of Assane, your son, your brother, was your cousin, your everything, your family member, your loved one, he was so great. He was so kind. He was just goofy, silly. I'm so sorry to the family, You have to bury your son, your brother. I can't imagine that. So many of us are literally hurting. Because when you think of him, you just, there is nothing negative. You don't think of anything negative. And all you can think about are the greatest memories. So, there's periods when I was just bawling, and then I started laughing because there are literally no memories of him that are terrible. I can go into our inbox on Twitter right now and just start cracking up because we just had funny moments. That's it. And then we had our serious moments, and there's moments when I would ask him, like, are you okay? Because he would wear his emotions on his sleeve. You could feel him, There was the point before last when he was over, I sensed that something wasn't right, and I asked him, I'm like, are you sure? Because you seemed a little down when you were here. And he was like, thank you for noticing. Like, I wasn't. I was dealing with some relationship stuff, and I just wasn't myself, and stuff with everything else. But his emotions were strong, and what he gave off often was this warmth and this gentleness that is extremely rare. Extremely rare. The world lost a I mean, he introduced me to so many people. I mean, literally, on his path, his life, he was just focused, and the doors were open, and he was just making moves, and he was going upwards, and I'm so angry. It's like, I'm angry at the fact that you have the best ones. It bothers me sometimes. It really bothers me. Like, yo, out of everyone, and I mean, that sounds terrible, but I'm being honest. Like, out of everyone, really? To the family of Assane, you have nothing but my love and my condolences. Like, that's to the friends of Assane, classmates, all of you. I understand the classmates that were so close to him. I understand. I'm choosing to remember the laughter, but when I tell you that he's not going anywhere because of the music, you know, music for me is pretty deep. But it is the music that will force me to never forget him, because I have a lot in my playlist that is literally Assane Drame. Literally. You know, so in my speakers will be Assane. In my headphones will be Assane, you know what I mean? So he's not going anywhere, but I am genuinely happy to have known someone like that. Genuinely. Because he was just as, reminds me of my niece and my nephew. Just pure. The hearts are so open and so pure. My nephew like that, my niece, just pure. And he was like a younger brother to me, if not, you know, on the inside I called him a baby, because that was just how pure he was, and how kind and how big his heart was. He was like a child, like a baby, but at all times, you know what I mean? So just love on the ones that love. Seriously, just love on the ones that love. Love on the ones that love. Give love to those that give love so freely. Treat those ones like the rarity that they are. I mean, even in his conversations, he would pick and choose his words carefully, as understanding as he was just altruistic. Great heart, man. I can't even, but I had to put this out, because if I didn't, I wouldn't. What I mean by that is that I would keep all this to myself, but I'm tired of holding in my emotions, you know what I mean? But he was a pleasure, and still is. But what I have from Assane is the music and all those memories and the memes, the videos and everything, like his laugh, everyone else sharing videos of him dancing, and just that, like, that's all that we know of him. Literally, that's all that we know. We know of him to behave like that. But behind the scenes and in front of everyone, that's who he is. So the world lost a gem. He is an angel, for real. A child, truly innocent, pure. That was a great. He was great. He was definitely great. To those of you who lost a coworker at the Clippers, I send you my condolences. To every one of you who lost him, and you're feeling it, I send you my condolences. You know. But I just wanted to say that, just communicate that, and send my love, you know.